Since I was a little kid, I always dreamed of becoming an artist. Like a lot of other people, I grew up watching cartoons and anime. I got so much inspiration from these, and I knew I had a lot of stories to tell. So, ever since the first year of elementary school, I was always drawing and writing comics. I even joined every art clubs, even though they had nothing to do with drawing or anything I was interested in. The first real art class I took was in 5th grade. It was a bit of a confusing situation because when I was a child we moved a lot and we actually moved back into a city we lived previously. In that city, I reconnected with an old friend from kindergarten. She was attending these after school classes where an old art teacher helped us learn everything about art. This wasn't just my first experience being criticized, but it was also my first time realizing I wasn't that good actually. Compared to my friends' works, my art was more like stick figures. So that was the time when I came to the conclusion that most people complimented my art because they were nice. For at least a year, I didn't even want to touch a pencil. Still, I kept going to these after school classes, maybe because of the company, I don't even know why. Maybe I just didn't want to give up. And this art teacher always told me that I am so talented and never give up. So twice a week, I was studying how to draw for 2 hours long. My skills improved and my passion returned. I also wasn't really a good student when it came to every other class. In retrospect, I can't really tell if it was the fault of the school I was attending or mine. But anyhow, I decided to pursue art as my career. I chose a high school where I could major in art. To be more specific, I was studying graphic design. But it wasn't the graphic design you are thinking of right now. No, sure, we had some classes where we learned how to use Photoshop and such, but mostly we were studying about classical art. And so we reached the point where everything started to go downhill. And don't get me wrong, I love classical art, I love art history and everything. But you also have to understand the situation. We could divide this art school into 3 groups. The first group was what teachers usually described as problematic children. They were actually kids who couldn't really attend to any other schools for some reason, and so they chose this art school because it was easy to get in. I guess because mostly they wasn't really paying attention to your grades. In my opinion, these were mostly children who the system failed. The other group could be, I guess, the classical art kids. They were the kids who usually had very good skills and they each had a theme and teachers really liked them and they were going to galleries and everything. And then there was the third group, the anime kids. It didn't really matter if you actually liked anime or not. If you wanted anything to do with comics or animation or you couldn't fit into the other 2 groups, you were an anime kid. Oh, are you someone who likes alternative fashion? Then you're an anime kid. Do you like Marvel or DC? Doesn't matter, you're an anime kid. So naturally, I became an anime kid. Okay, to be fair, I did like anime. But when it came to my art, I was always trying to do my own thing, you know? I kind of got stuck between the second and the third groups. I wasn't accepted into the second group because my art was too anime. I was writing comics and drawing cartoons. But when it came to the anime kids, the third group, I wasn't accepted because my art wasn't really anime or manga, so they didn't like it. And the teachers were the worst part. There were some who actually tried to help me. I remember one graphic design teacher who I really liked because she was also a big fan of like comics and everything, like this pop cultural thing. But most teachers weren't there to help you reach your goal. They were also artists who were doing their own things. And they could only see value in their own things, like their own field, their own style. I always felt like in their eyes good art equaled like the copying of their work. Like they weren't successful enough, so they wanted you to continue their legacy or something. I will try to show you like my drawings at the time. Fortunately, I have the habit of saving everything I do. Instead of deleting, I usually just make like a trash can folder. And I do recommend you do that because usually even when I hate drawing so much, I'm so happy to find them like a couple of years later. Anyhow, at this point, I was still holding on. I was holding on to my dreams and style and everything. I guess until graduation. It wasn't really a traditional high school, so how this school worked was it was 5 years long. A traditional high school in Hungary is usually 4 years long, but you can take like an additional 2 years. These additional 2 years are usually for some kind of job or like specialty or major. But in my school, this was only 1 year because the second year was like spread throughout the 4 years. So for 4 years, I had like regular high school classes like I don't know, grammar or math or something, and the other half I had art classes like anatomy, drawing, graphic design, and so on. During this 4 year, I started to go down a path. It was a very slow descent, but I think I started to internalize everything I heard about my own art. When I was drawing, I already was thinking about what would the teachers say. So I started fixing everything that I was thinking they would point out as like, oh, being too manga or too this or too that. It was like I drew something and it went through a filter. I filtered out my style, everything I thought they wouldn't like. And although I really liked him, my old mentor I mentioned at the beginning of the video, he was like my biggest hater at the time. If I can say this, I was pretty good at anatomy and everything when I had to draw like after models and whatever. And so while most teachers were very dismissive when it came to other manga kids or anime kids or whatever I call them, they were really hanging on to me. It was always like, oh, such a shame you do this instead of the right thing. I was spiraling so bad. Sometimes there were like 10 different teachers telling me 10 different things. Don't do this, don't do that. Oh no, use this method. Oh no, use the other method. Oh, why are you doing this? Oh, the other teacher told you? No, do the other thing. I had phases when I tried to follow everything. I had phases when I didn't follow anything. Phases when I used references for everything I did. I don't know, phases where I didn't use references at all. My guess is at that time I didn't really see what was happening. I always try to find the mistakes in my own self, I guess, so I can fix them. And this actually continued to university. In university, I was studying animation, and it was kind of the same thing, I guess. Maybe the only good thing was that the teachers weren't really that close to you. They still had some comments, but they were usually just letting you do whatever you wanted. Like, you had a project, of course, and they tried to help with the project, but they really weren't telling you what to do. They were mostly there to try to help you figure out the technique. And then, on university, I had a class where I had to learn like classical animation, so not on computer but paper and everything. And there was a teacher, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was the time when they evaluated the work for the semester. I sat down beside him, showed him my work and everything, and he knew me already because I think it was like the second year or the end of the first year or something. And usually it was like when they criticized your works, every student and teacher were watching you and criticizing together. It was usually pretty chill, so it wasn't a problem for me to show my works in front of everyone. But he knew about how other teachers criticized my work because it was too anime or something. He was silently looking at my drawings. Then he looked up and he told me something that just made me click. You know, your works really remind me of like anime and manga, but I think it comes from like a genuine place. Other teachers think you copy something, but I really think it is something that is your own style. It comes from within. It's just sometimes our own style, it resembles something else. But I don't think it needs fixing. My mind was blown. I wasn't instantly like back to my roots, but it was something that was in the back of my head after this. At this point, it was at least like 6 or 7 years listening to everyone always complain about my style and try to convince me to do something else with myself. So I couldn't just change back. After I graduated university, I didn't really know what to do with myself. It was also 2020. But I really took these words to heart. I had a story that I was writing since I was like 14, and I tried to work on it throughout all of these years, trying to stop this overthinking and just do whatever felt right. It was a very long story. I mean, it is, because what I am talking about is reminiscence. But I wanted to do something shorter before, like a learning project, if you will. I had many of those, I think. I uploaded I think 3 different comics to Webtoon, but I deleted all of them. Despite me telling you not to delete your works, I had the habit of deleting my works. Especially the ones I posted online, yes. That's how I started Divided. And you can actually follow my struggle like real time. It also had many versions I deleted. I think the first ever version was titled Because of You. I will try to find pictures of it. I think I have the whole thing. And I am actually in the process of editing Divided, because I think it was really poorly written at some places and it had a lot of typos, so I'm trying to go back and fix that. In 2026 I want to finish this comic, but I also feel like if new readers start it, they will be really thrown off by the poor English. And going back and looking at the whole comic, and sometimes because I want to re-edit some places so it makes sense, I am trying to find old versions. And oh my god, the old versions are so much better. I really feel like when I was drawing the first versions, I just followed my instincts and I tried to create something that felt really good to draw and to write. And I can basically see the places where I was like, oh my god, no, what would my teacher say? This is not good enough, this is too manga, this is too this or that. And I took everything out that made my comic my comic. I am so angry at myself for ever listening to them. Especially after I started the comic, I tried to rebel against everything they have told me. And I kept going back to my old mentor. And I also remember this moment really well. I took my sketchbook full of sketches of reminiscence characters and Divided and everything, and it was the exact thing that he hated seeing. But at this point I was like, I don't care. This is what I want to draw. I hated drawing at this point, and it was so freeing drawing something I really wanted to see. I sat down, I handed over my sketchbook, and I was just waiting, looking around the room to listen to, oh, this is the manga, this is the this is the that. He silently flipped through the pages, and he was like, yes, I think our tastes never really aligned, and I will never understand your view of the world, but they are good. I was in disbelief. I was like, what? That's it? Still, I think my healing is still ongoing. I struggle a lot with my style, with my skills. Sometimes I really feel like I am just going backwards. But I think the lesson is, it's not even not to listen to your teachers. Listen to them. But try to find the good kind of criticism and separate it from the bad kind of criticism. It is not easy to do, because I do agree that copying other people's style is not beneficial to you, but being inspired by something and resembling another kind of art style, that's not a bad thing. The difference can be very niche, of course, and finding your own voice takes years or decades or forever. So I would say the takeaway from this: first, never really stop doing what you are doing. But don't take it out of context. Of course, I'm not talking about bad habits. But never give up your passion. And the other thing is, I think going back to your roots doesn't mean like devolving or something. Sometimes I guess you can drop some things along the way, and so you have to go back, look at them, and reconsider everything.